Hey, some of the beloveds that follow us on the Chung Fu channel have asked to receive more transmission about what the Council of Light is, who the Council of Light are. So Chung Fu, could you speak to us today about the Council of Light?
Greetings, dear ones. Blessings and peace. I'm Chung Fu. Yes, absolutely delighted to speak to you about the Council of the Light. So what is the Council of the Light? You know, some people used to call it the White Brotherhood. But that's not accurate because they're not all male. And they're certainly and particularly racially orientated. They're neither white nor any particular color to be identified, other than that white light, of course. So the Council of the Light are those beings who connect between the divine presence, the vast solar logos, the divine heavenly light of the creator, creatrix, and the human soul. So they are ascended beings. And what does that mean? That means they are beings who no longer incarnate. They are beings who are, however, still very interested in the human race and in all incarnated races. So they are beings of a higher density of light, fourth and fifth dimensional beings. There are some sixth dimensional beings that come in to influence them a little bit, but the actual Council of the Light is mainly higher fourth dimension and fifth dimension beings. And so for their evolution, they are trying to understand how to interface and help the evolution of humanity. They are benign beings. They are bringing you truths. They carry the divine light, the message, you could say. They interpret the light into thought. They work with thought. They bring their energy through to you in dreams, in transmissions, in your meditations. And they are very close at this time. Well, they're always in a way close, but they're very visible, you could say, or tangible at this time because they are making themselves known. They are speaking out. They are kind of ringing the alarm bells in a certain way for you all to awaken. The Council of the Light knows about the history of humanity, knows everything that has happened here upon the earth because it's all there for them to read in the Akashic record. Many Akashic records in particular for each of you, but the Akashic records of the whole of Earth and this part of the galaxy. So it's to understand that they are working with cosmic knowledge, with spiritual knowledge and cosmic knowledge, and with memory and experience of human life, with an understanding of what it is to come into a body and kind of, well, almost forget where you came from. So they do a lot of reminding, a lot of awakening, a lot of, well, as I said, ringing of alarm bells, which is really when you suddenly wake up and realize something was there all along, but you never saw it. So there has been a spell, if you like, of blindness, almost a type of dark magic that has been used to hide many difficult truths about life on Earth. And the Council of the Light at this time, they are, well, you could say they're troubleshooting. They are busting open myths and lies, and they are in that mode of revelation, which is talked about in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, in the Quran. It is talked about in most holy books that there's time that comes when there will be a great confrontation between the beings of the light and the beings of the dark. So the Council of the Light is coordinating. You could say it doesn't actually engage because they are mainly involved in the awakening of humanity and the lifting up of consciousness, because this is the human beings who must do this part of the work. Now, having said that, there are beings coming in, starseed beings being born and coming very close. So they also do a lot of holding around the incarnation of higher density beings needed at this time to come into the world, which they do and they have. And in holding the space while those beings become empowered. So they are often guides, helpers, protectors. They commune with the angelic realms and the realms of deity, and they are connecting up all these diverse frequencies of light to form a great rainbow energy that is protecting the earth right now. So you will often hear me say they are the brother sisterhood of all nations, all tribes, races, religions, faiths, and cultures, because that is right. They are, in a sense, the rainbow brother sisterhood of light. We say the Counsel of the Light because you are always, if you like, calling upon them for clarity. And so they form this body of knowledge. And really, if you connect with one, you connect with all. Because at that level of light, they have unified. And so they are able to also individuate, but there's much more power in the unification of their energies. And so that's what they teach. And they bring that teaching to you, saying, that when you're on the earth, you experience extreme separation. You often experience aloneness, and you often experience disempowerment. So they are always, if you like, encouraging you to lift up your energy and feel the at-one-ment energy, feel the oneness, the truth of oneness, that you are like them. You have an ascended self, a higher self. And right now you're choosing to be on earth, but don't ever forget that connection to the divine. And they are the intermediaries for you. So when you open up, always welcome them to be very close to you. Sometimes they will come very close, and you will hear things once you develop that relationship. And it might come through as pure thought, or you might hear something, or you might feel it. But what matters is connect with them. And they are made up also of many wonderful beings, inventors, scientists, religious, spiritual leaders. There are all kinds of wonderful beings of both genders that are now in the Counsel of the Light leading humanity. Needless to say, the Counsel of the Light is not a place where souls who are still evolving can be. Let's say somebody has been a really great leader, has done lots of good things, but they have one huge area of their being where they still must work to heal, to integrate. They will reincarnate. They can't ascend until a certain point. Now, this level of ascension that the Counsel of Light is at, yes, there are fourth density beings there, but mainly they're in the fifth dimension. So some of them will be accessible to you, and they will translate for the others. And so all of the earth really at this time is preparing for this massive shift into fourth dimensional awareness, and open to that presence, and to be able to feel, and sometimes for some of you see and hear those spirit beings in your earth plane, right there with you, and you will experience your own elevation. Some are calling it ascension. It is an elevation of the field of light of the earth itself, and of all the humanity who are, in that sense, being elevated with the earth. So this is a actual physical phenomenon, but it's not as obvious, if you like, as it sounds. But it will be that almost like, when you learn something and then you look back and you remember when you didn't know it and you didn't notice how you came to know it. So this change will be quite, some people think it's going to sort of be a flash of lightning and all kinds of dramatic things. But in our view and what we see, it is already happening. It is an incremental process of evolution, of upgrading, of self-realization and awakening. And that is what the Council of Light are mainly overseeing at this time. They are teachers, they are healers, they are seers. They bring divine love in, and they are protecting the earth, connecting with many beings from other constellations and galaxies who dwell in the higher realms of light. And here, very strongly working at this time to protect the planet and all of you, and to strengthen the power of the light. Because at this time, as you all know, there is a great confrontation between the light, the beings of the light, and the beings who are opposing them, and who are bringing a lot of harm, a lot of negativity, a lot of pain and suffering onto the earth. And it is time now. The Council of the Light are here to usher in a new time here upon the earth. Blessings and peace to you ones.
Blessings and peace. Could I possibly ask, a few names that people could maybe call upon?
Oh my goodness, so many names. Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Could we work with the Decagon Energy?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe explain a little bit about the Decagon Energy as well?
So in your world, you will find a lot of empowerment in regards to shapes and sacred symbols, geometry, and the Decagon is an empowerment shape, very important at this time, important in times of shifting of dimensional energies. So from one, maybe from one level of understanding to another, or from one level of power to another. It's an empowerment. If you put something in the center of a Decagon, whether that is a thought form or a remedy, a medicine, whether it is also just the name of that being, like a plant being, you can bring the essence of that plant being into some water that you would also, for example, place there. So the Decagon is an interdimensional field. Where it creates an interdimensional field. Now that's the flat Decagon. Now what we are also using is a Decagon shape that begins with a large Decagon at the bottom that has sides and comes up in a triangular manner to a smaller Decagon at the top. This particular shape is like it lifts up the energy. It is an energy empowerer, but it is also a dimension shifter. So if you put something about 2/3 of the way up in the Decagon, again, a bit like in the pyramidal shape, it's going to lift the vibration. That can be a prayer, an intention, and that can be a crystal you are charging up, or again it can be used. It is more used really in the thought form, in the spiritual way, for intention, for prayer and for healing. So in terms of working here with transformation in your world, and with the empowerment of yourself, and with the Council of the Light. So oftentimes I actually use 12s. I use the 10 around the edges of the Decagon. Then I place one name at the top and one name in that 2/3 down. So I often work with the power of 12 invoking the Council of the Light to work with intention. And so there are many beings that can come together in this way. The thing is that these beings have had many names, and so sometimes it's difficult to bring you the names that are now, if you like, rather than, but I'm going to probably stick to the famous names, as you could say, the ones you recognize from your world. And so you understand yourselves that although Yeshua is often thought of as the Christ energy. Yeshua is a man. Yeshua is an ascended being who has come many times in many forms and who has brought that Christ light. But I'm going to put him right at the top, in the center, Yeshua. Put him there. And then again, you understand that beings who are working with Yeshua, who are, you could say, the brotherhood and the sisterhood. So we have got Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene comes in the center. She's holding the energy. She is, you could say, the yin, the sacred holder of that Christ light energy that's coming through the center, and she is holding there Mary Magdalene. And then we have coming down to the whole of the base of the Decagon, which also then relates to the top 10 points of the Decagon. Saint Francis of Assisi, Florence Nightingale, Saint Germain, Merlin. We could also, you understand, beings bring multiple presences. And so it is to realize that they have other names, but I'm not going to mention all the names. And so here we have also Aristotle. Now, again, Gautama Buddha, who everybody thinks of and knows is an ascended being, and ascended actually during his own lifetime, nevertheless, he is someone who can be brought into a decagon in order to invoke the wisdom from the Counsel of the Light. There are beings who in their lives, did many things which you might think, well, they can't be an ascended being, but then they actually are. So there's a beautiful being who is now considered both a saint and a goddess, and that is Bridget. And Bridget, she brought a lot of power in during her life. Divine power, the sacred feminine. She understood a great deal, and she taught a great deal. And she has to this day many followers. She's considered a divinity, and indeed she is in so many ways that divinity. And that is to understand that divinity can reside within a beautiful human soul. And that soul then becomes one with the divine. And so she is ascended, and she works with all those who call to her. Mother Mary, of course, you know that deep within yourself. You can feel that presence, very present at this time, very much aligned with the Divine Mother, often known as the Divine Mother. However, I remind you, she has been human, and so she is an ascended being who again brings through divine love. I'm going to bring here the being who is the female counterpart of Aman Shungin, the feminine being who works with the earth, who is the feminine counterpart, and who is really the same being. But for clarity's sake, I just bring through a slightly different name, because she is like a mirror of Aman Shungin. And she says she still wants to keep the same name, but I'm going to call her Aman Shungina, because I do want to bring the feminine essence through here, and she is in the Counsel of Light, and oftentimes she brings that power of transformation for you all, and that is so important. Her healing power and her alignment with Mother Earth. So this is important, the feminine, the yin aspect of Aman Shungin, Amanshangina. There are many, many, many beings of light. Of course, you understand that. And so it's to realize I am bringing through beings that you may have heard of, you may understand. It matters that you do understand. So they are beings you can access, you can find out about. And so the last being I want to bring in for you is a solar lord, a feminine solar lord. And she is called Mirayeva. And she is very much working with you all, with your intelligence. But she is, however, you could almost say, Jerome might say to me, but I thought she was, almost you could say higher. Well, there's no hierarchy. She is in that sense an ascended being, a solar lord, and she is working with the solar logos, the light, the Christ light that is coming in.
What I have often asked, just so that people can understand, is that for male and female, whether you are male or female, the word Lord can seem hierarchical. And so how would Chung Fu define how a Lord can represent at a ninth dimensional level, how a Lord can represent a divine feminine power?
Really what it is, it's the fact that the feminine power is contradicting that hierarchical energy, is coming in saying the divine feminine power is coming into you all, onto the earth, into manifestation, and using, in a sense, language that puts your mind into a kind of, oh, a lord, but it's a lady, oh, it's a lord, and to just contradict that, to bring the divine power. And the word itself seems to denote a yang energy, but when you feel the energy of the solar lords, who are the feminine divine, manifesting in that sense in the ascended realms, you feel it, don't you? They are actually full of compassion, of peace, of deep love, joy, and healing power.
Yeah, it's more of a pinky golden, very strong solar kind of energy, whereas when the more male kind of solar lords come in, it's can almost be quite, fierce and strong in the heat. You can literally feel the heat.
Which is, of course, not to say that female deities can't be fierce and strong.
Absolutely.
So we know this fact, of course.
I guess what I'm saying is, well, I'm talking from experience because I've done the Solar Logos series, which is what I was going to mention, is people can go and explore that series. It's on our website, www.deepsoulconnection.com. But yeah, it's a beautiful power to be calling in amongst all the other beings. The last question I'd ask is, how would you, Chung Fu, do a type of calling in, and what would that sort of sound like?
Peace to you, and well, I do it every day, don't I?
Yeah.
So that's right. The thing to remember is that you need to know the energy that you're calling in. You have to believe. You have to understand what it means, this presence, the divine presence, that it's coming through a myriad of ascended beings. And we're talking about ascended beings here in the Council of the Light. And we've chosen 12 from the Council of the Light. And when you are calling beings, that are ascended beings, and there are so many, I could not possibly, there are literally millions of them, There's Gandhi, and there are so many beings. They will pop in. They're incredible composers, musicians. There are so many beings, and don't hesitate. If you know someone and you think, well, they're ascended, I know they are, you call them in. So calling in is a matter of being very, friendly with God, Goddess, friendly. He's my friend. I'm calling them in because I know them and because I want them with me. And I know that they come when I call. You know, they come anyway, but they come especially close when I call. So what does that mean, calling? Firstly, it means knowing who you're calling, feeling their quality, knowing why you're calling, and getting very clear. It's not just the wishy-washy, oh, can you just come and help my whole life? I mean, it's just really hard down here. It's not that. It's, I know. I know what you can help me with. I know what your qualities are. So you have to have a sense inside yourself of who you're calling, and especially of the energies that you're calling. Sometimes you can just call the divine and the qualities that you want, that you need at this time. I need fierce courage. I need strength, stamina. I need to be able to speak my truth. I need to come out of fear and into personal courage. And you see, then you call to the divine, and God, Goddess bring you actual beings, and you may not recognize them straight away, but they will come. So naming those you call and understanding the state of being you have to be in, open-hearted, breathing deep, opening your chakras, feeling yourself actually connecting with those beings in the ascended realms, knowing that you have a total divine right to connect with all beings that you feel connection with. So checking within yourself, I really feel today I want to commune with Mother Mary. So I think about her. I think of what I know about her, but I also just open to what I don't know about her. For she has evolved for thousands of years, and she is now an ascended being, and she is clearly aligned with the Divine Mother. So I am calling on those qualities of love, of compassion, of divine mothering, of unconditional love, of healing that love can bring to any places in me. And I call the power and the love of Mother Mary to enter my body, my heart, and my mind. And I breathe and open. And now I give thanks. I give thanks for your presence with me. And then I just let go, and I trust. And I continue with my prayers or my meditation or my journeying. And whether that is right then or whether it's a little later, you will have an experience that will link back to that calling in, but it's not always exactly what you expect. But always give thanks. Always give thanks for what you receive. Always link your request with your gratitude of receiving whatever it is you receive, and understand that these ascended beings, these divine beings even, they will not necessarily give you what you want, but they will definitely know what you need. And so always be grateful. Always look and expect to see how you are receiving from the beings you have called to that which you need, and give great gratitude. And we today give gratitude to all the beings who have come forward. And I'm sure we can come another time and speak again, for there are so many ascended beings helping you at this time who are in the Counsel of the Light, many of whom I have not mentioned here. But you maybe can think of who they are and form for yourself your brother-sisterhood of chosen ones who you want to ask for help in your life, who belong to the Counsel of the Light, and bring you messages from the divine, and bring you healing from the source of all love. And so I wish you well, dear ones, with your explorations on the inner plane. And remember, I am here. Should you need any further guidance, I am so happy to talk to you. Blessings and peace to you all.
And do come and join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. UK time, for our live stream with Chung Fu, where we get to talk with Chung Fu, journey and meditate with Chung Fu, journeying into many aspects and many subjects of the mind and the heart and the soul. We would love to see you there. Click the link in this video description, which will take you to Eventbrite for tickets. Great love.
Blessings and peace.
Blessings and peace.